passed here by this roadside door. Peach blossoms burned in evening gold. You stood there where the soft light fell and made the April air turn warm. Coffee steam and fading wheels, the screen door sighing in the dusk, and for one quiet shining breath, the whole hard world grew kind to us. Your face and those blossoms were bright in the self-famed breeze. I thought that spring might keep us the way it kept the trees. Peach blossoms in the spring wind, still smiling like before. But I don't know where your face is gone from this old roadside door. Peach blossoms in the spring wind, still bright in tender light. Every year they bloom again, while you stay out of sight. Tonight I came back down this road, a year of miles behind my name. The gravel lot, the neon hum, glass, the town unchanged. Everything the season touched came back in pink and white. But all the beauty hurt a little for blooming just as bright. The sky was soft as memory, the breeze as warm as then, and all of spring stood waiting where you had once been. Peach blossoms in the spring wind, still smiling like before. But I don't know where your face has gone from this old roadside door. Peach blossoms in the spring wind, still bright in tender light. Every year they bloom again, while you stay out of sight. Maybe flowers never wondered who was lost and who remained. Maybe April keeps on rising without a single name. But a man can stand in evening light feel two worlds come through, one where the blossoms still return, and one that won't return to you. Peach blossoms in the spring wind, still laughing soft and low, and I can almost see your face in every drifting glow. Peach blossoms in the spring wind, old road, and you don't anymore. Yeah, spring comes back to this old road, and you don't anymore. Peach blossoms in the spring wind,
morning came in pale gold light on a long white line through Tennessee. Coffee steamed by the dashboard glow, and the fields turned soft and green for me. Truck stop signs in the waking wind, shining cleaner than they did before. April touched the hood and chrome like a hand on an old screen door. The cold was leaving mile by mile, the sky looked young again. Something in this diesel heart was learning how to mend. April on the American road, rolling slow where the wild wind blows from the truck stop lights to the county lines. Something old in my heart comes alive. April on the American road, under a sky turning blue and gold, with the radio low and the highway wide. I feel spring riding by my side. South of Memphis, the Dogwood shone white beside a weathered service lane. Past Missouri, the shoulders bloomed after weeks of stubborn rain. Texas waited with open fields and a long warm light near Amarillo. Every mile held a different spring, every state had a softer soul. The frost was fading from the rails, the world was breathing deep. And every town I passed that day felt like a promise I could keep. April on the American road, rolling slow where the wild wind blows from the truck stop lights to the county lines. Something old in my heart comes alive. April on the American road, under a sky turning blue and gold, with the radio low and the highway wide. I feel spring riding by my side. Maybe roads remember men more than men remember roads. Maybe every spring comes back to lighten what the winter knows. And maybe all these long hard years ain't only dust and low. Maybe grace still travels too down the American road. April on the American road, rolling free where the warm winds blow from the diner glass to the freight yard lights. I can see my life in a kinder light. April on the American road, with the dogwoods white and the rivers gold, and the wheels still turning through the open night. I feel spring riding by my side. Yeah, the wheels still turning through the open night, and I feel spring riding by my side. On the American road. I pulled in just south of Jackson with 40 tons and a tired old back. Coffee sign in the morning window, chrome and dust and a diesel track. Then I saw it by the front step, white against the cinder floor. April standing in a small white tree, dogwood by the truck stop door. Bell above the glass kept ringing, boots came in from the gravel lot. But in that noise and coffee steaming, there was one thing the whole world was not. Dogwood by the truck stop door, white as the hands I held before. April blooming through the diesel roar, like grace in a world of steel. Dogwood by the truck stop door, you were here and then no more. But every spring when those white petals fall, I swear I feel you still. She loved little roadside blossoms more than roses anybody bought. Said the prettiest things in this country grow where people forget to stop. She would laugh at my old silence, brush the ash from my work shirt sleeve, and say even the hardest highways got some tender miles to leave. Now the waitress called my order, sun came warm across the floor, and memory walked right in beside me with that white tree by the door. Dogwood by the truck stop door, white as the hands I held before. April blooming through the diesel roar, like grace in a world of steel. Dogwood by the truck stop door, you were here and then no more. But every spring when those white petals fall, I swear I feel you still. Maybe love don't stay forever, maybe men just learn to drive. Maybe roads don't give you answers, they just keep old feelings alive. But some things wait beside the passing, patient as a southern sky. A little bloom by a truck stop doorway, and a name you never drive by. Dogwood by the truck stop door, white as the hands I held before. April shining through the diesel roar, like mercy in a world of steel. Dogwood by the truck stop door, you were mine and then no more. But every spring when those white petals fall, I know you're with me still. Yeah, every spring when those white petals fall, I know you're with me still. Dogwood by the truck stop door. I rode in with the evening traffic, southbound tired on Highway 9. Coffee steaming, diesel breathing, under a soft blue neon sign. Then she stepped out through the diner doorway with a denim jacket in her hand, and the whole truck stop went still around her, like the night forgot its plans. Wind drove over landed tender, April moved across her face, and for a second all that hard road noise fell back and gave her space. Her blue dress in the April light, soft as a song on a truck stop night, warm as the glow from the diner inside, bright as a dream you can't hold tight. Her blue dress in the April light, moving slow where the world felt wide, and I swear the road for one long breath had a little
real enough to break your heart. Tired eyes and a quiet beauty, like she lived through every small town park. She looked out past the parked out semis, toward the dark beyond the county line, like she knew something about leaving, like she'd done it once or twice. The jukebox played a low love song, boots heels crossed the checkered floor, but all I knew was April standing by that glass and screen door. Her blue dress in the April light, soft as a song on a truck stop night, warm as the glow from the diner inside, bright as a dream you can't hold tight. Her blue dress in the April light, moving slow where the world felt wide, and I swear the road for one long breath had a little heaven in its eyes. Maybe beauty comes like weather, maybe grace don't stay too long, maybe some folks pass before you just to leave one faithful song. But I still see her by that doorway when the dogwoods start to bloom, blue against the April evening, like a rose in a diesel room. Her blue dress in the April light still runs on through my mind at night, soft as the wind through an open screen, sweet as the miles in between. Her blue dress in the April light, turning pain to a kinder kind, and I swear this hard old American road still carries her tonight. Yeah, I swear this hard old American road still carries her tonight. Her blue dress in the April light.
Across that Texas line at daybreak with a long black ribbon under me, windshield golden, coffee cooling, and miles of open country free. Then somewhere west of Amarillo, where the fences run and the sky runs higher, yellow, blue, and purple burning like the whole white plain caught fire. After all those winter miles, after all that gray, the earth just opened up in color and took my breath away. Wildflowers past Amarillo, running wild beside my wheels, blue like a song, gold like mercy, purple like the way spring heals. Wildflowers past Amarillo, under heaven wide and still, and for a while this hard old highway felt softer than it ever will. Past old barns and wire gates, shadows past a rusted sign and a cattle guard, April rolled across the shoulder, making every empty stretch less hard. I'd seen 1,000 roads go by me, seen the dust, the rain, the cold, but nothing breaks a weary silence like a Texas bloom and gold. And the radio played low and warm, like it knew just how I'd feel when the land itself starts singing to a man behind the wheel. Wildflowers past Amarillo, running wild beside my wheels, blue like a song, gold like mercy, purple like the way spring heals.
ocean. Maybe grace grows where it can. Maybe God leaves little colors for the broken-hearted man. And maybe all those long white lines ain't only loading time to kill. Maybe some roads turn to music past Amarillo in April. Wildflowers past Amarillo still bloom bright inside me now. Blue like hope and gold like memory, purple where the heart learns how. Wildflowers past Amarillo under that old Texas thrill. And for one long shining mile of life, I was more than iron will. Yeah, for one long shining mile of life, I was more than iron will. Wildflowers past Amarillo.
I've driven this same old interstate in January steel and November rain. Watch the truck stop lights burn cold through 100 miles of ache. But somewhere north of Little Rock, with dogwood white along the rail, the wind came through my open window and the hard part of me failed. Not all at once, not like a miracle, just easy as thawing ground. Like something tied inside my chest, finally loosened without a sound. The road was softer in April. The miles didn't cut so deep. The sky leaned down a little kinder, and the world felt half asleep. The road was softer in April. Or maybe I just was. But every line beneath my wheels felt more like grace than dust. There were fields outside of Memphis, turning green after weeks of gray. A little diner off the highway with warm light at the end of day. I heard an old song on the radio, and for the first time in a while, I didn't feel like I was running, just living mile by mile. And every county road I passed looked washed in tender blue, like April had a way of taking the sharp edge off the truth. The road was softer in April. The miles didn't cut so deep. The sky leaned down a little kinder, and the world felt half asleep. The road was softer in April. Maybe
shine beneath my wheels. Felt more like grace and dust. Maybe roads don't ever change. Maybe seasons change the man. Maybe winter teaches holding on, and spring teaches where to land. And maybe all these years I carry more than freight and time and pain. Maybe April touched the highway and taught my heart to bend again. The road was softer in April, the night less hard to drive. The dogwoods glow, the river's open, and something old in me survived. The road was softer in April, or maybe I finally was. But every mile that rolled behind me felt more like peace and loss. Yeah, every mile that rolled behind me felt more like peace and loss. The road was softer in April. Midnight lay across the highway, black and blue beyond the beams. Dashboard glowing soft and steady, like a keeper of old dreams. April wind came through the window, warm enough to change the dark, and a low old song came drifting from the radio to my heart. Truck stop lights fell far behind me, county lines rolled slow and long, and for a while the whole wide night felt like it knew my song. April radio, midnight heart, keeping me company in the dark. From the truck stop glow to the old state line, you're the only thing that still feels right. April radio, midnight heart, holding me together mile by mile, with a steel guitar and a gentle spark. You keep spring alive in the dark. Somewhere south of Oklahoma, I passed a diner closing down. One last neon buzzing softly, one last porch light in a town. I kept rolling through the silence with the white lines and the stars, and that old voice through the speaker made this cab feel less like scars. Maybe every lonely driver needs one song that understands how the night can lean so heavy till a melody takes your hand. April radio, midnight heart, keeping me company in the dark. From the truck stop glow to the old state line, you're the only thing that still feels right. April radio, midnight heart, holding me together mile by mile, with a steel guitar and a gentle spark. You keep spring alive in the dark. Maybe love don't always stay, maybe daylight tells no lies, but a midnight song in April can still make mercy out of time. And maybe every road goes on, there's something in us must. A little music through the speaker, a little hope against the dust. April radio, midnight heart, still running warm through the dark, from the freight yard lights to the break of dawn. You remind me why I'm still holding on. April radio, midnight heart, soft as the wind through the loading yard. With an old love song and a faithful spark, you keep spring alive in the dark. Yeah, with an old love song and a faithful spark, you keep spring alive in the dark. April radio, midnight heart. I took a booth beside the window, just off Highway 52. Coffee warm and silver spoons, morning light and shades of blue. Chrome trim catching little flashes, checkered floor and neon hum. Then outside the glass I saw it, April hanging soft in bloom. White petals in the roadside branches, moving slow above the lot. And for a while the world kept turning, but inside me something stopped. Diner window in bloom, April leaning through the room. Coffee chrome and a low tune from a life I almost knew. Diner window in bloom, soft as light on a Sunday noon. And the whole hard road outside looked kinder than it usually do. A waitress called me hon and smiled like she'd seen 1,000 men like me. Boots with dust and quiet shoulders, living mile to mile, week to week. There was pie beneath the counter glass and a jukebox breathing low. And outside those blooming branches made the whole town shine like gold. Maybe some days don't arrive with thunder, maybe grace comes small and plain, in a roadside place with tired blinds and flowers tapping at the pane. Diner window in bloom, April leaning through the room. Coffee chrome and a low tune from a life I almost knew. Diner window in bloom, soft as light on a Sunday noon. And the whole hard road outside looked kinder than it usually do. I've seen cities in the distance, I've seen sunrise on the load, but there's something about a little diner when spring comes close enough to show how the world can stay so simple and still break right through to you. A white tree by a parking lot and a sky washed clean in blue. The diner window in bloom still lives on when April moves. Coffee steam and a faithful tune and a heart with a little more room. Diner window in bloom, quiet as mercy coming through. And for one long breath that morning, life looked gentle, clear and true. Yeah, for one long breath that morning, life looked gentle, clear and true. Diner window in bloom. Evening laid its amber shadow across the hood and westbound lane. Fields went dim beyond the fences after one more day of sun and rain. Truck stop signs began to glimmer, county lights came slow and far, and above the long black ribbon, April lit her patient stars. I had miles behind my shoulders, more than I could ever name, but the wind came soft through the half-rolled window and nothing in me felt the same. Long miles under a tender sky, rolling on while the night rolls by. From the fading fields to the loading lights, I still feel something alive inside. Long miles under a tender sky, with the radio low and the moon riding high. And this hard old road for one sweet while feels like home when the stars go by. I've seen cold in Ohio mornings, dust in Texas, rain in June. Seen love leave through a diner doorway, heard old heartbreak from a motel room. But tonight the dogwoods glow behind me, wildflowers sleep beyond the grave, and the same old road I've carried for years feels gentler than it used to feel. Maybe every long road teaches what no easy life can say, that peace don't come from standing still, but from learning how to stay. Long miles under a tender sky, rolling on while the night rolls by. From the fading fields to the loading lights, I still feel something alive inside. Long miles under a tender sky, with the radio low and the moon riding high. And this hard old road for one sweet while feels like home when the stars go by. Not every prayer gets answered, not every love comes back, not every weary driver finds a softer stretch of track. But sometimes grace is simple, has a warm wind after rain, a little light above the highway, and the strength to go again. Long miles under a tender sky, still moving through this life of mine. From the truck stop glow to the break of dawn, I'm not as lost as I once was. Long miles under a tender sky, with April breathing through the night, and these wheels still turning steady and slow, like a faithful old song I know. Yeah, these wheels still turning steady and slow, like a faithful old song I know. Long miles under a tender sky.
She left in the middle of April, when the white trees lined the county road. Wind blew soft across the gravel, and the petals fell like little snow. I was standing by the service station with a cap in hand and nothing brave to say. She looked once through that open window, then the whole world rolled away. No storm came down, no big goodbye, just a quiet southern sky. And and dogwood drifting through the air like something too tender to survive. She left with the dogwood snow, white petals falling slow. April knew before I did, some things bloom and some things go. She left with the dogwood snow, down a road I couldn't follow. And every spring those branches shine like a heartbreak, soft and hollow. She was never one for drama, never one to slam a door, just the kind to hold her silence till it hurt a little more. She said some roads keep on calling and some hearts can't stay in place. Then she brushed one blossom from her shoulder and I memorized her face. The radio was low behind me, coffee cooling in my hand, and all that white around the roadside felt like mercy on the land. She left with the dogwood snow, white petals falling slow. April knew before I did, some things bloom and some things go. She left with the dogwood snow, down a road I couldn't follow. And every spring those branches shine like a heartbreak, soft and hollow. Maybe love don't end in thunder, maybe it ends in weather and light, in a bloom that only lasts a week and a road disappearing out of sight. Maybe I've been driving ever since, trying not to call her name, but every white tree in the south still burns me just the same. She left with the dogwood snow, white petals drifting low. April held what I could not and let the whole damn story go. She left with the dogwood snow, still falling in my soul. And every spring I drive those miles, feel that April cold. Yeah, every spring I drive those miles, feel that April cold. She left with the dogwood snow. I turned off the interstate somewhere where the map lines narrowed down, past a grain elevator sleeping and a little white church in town. April stood along the fences, pink and white above the ditches wide, and my old truck rolled more slowly, like it knew not to pass this by. Porch swings moved in the warm wind, laundry danced behind the frame, and every mile looked hand-painted, like the world had learned my name. Two lanes through the blossoms, rolling under a tender
April hanging on the fence lines as my old truck rolled by. Two lanes through the blossoms where the little town still shine, and the road don't feel like leaving when the dogwoods line the drive. There was a diner near the crossroads with pie and coffee in the glass, a jukebox humming low and faithful, and school kids waving as I passed. I've seen the big roads chase the daylight, I've seen the freight yards after dark, but there's a peace on small town blacktop that stays lit in a man's heart. Maybe speed ain't always freedom, maybe slow is how we see the things that make a country beautiful, and the things that let us breathe. Two lanes through the blossom, rolling under a tender sky, April hanging on the fence line as my old truck rolled by. Two lanes through the blossom where the little town still shine, and the road don't feel like leaving when the dogwoods line the drive. Church bell ringing in the distance, soft as light on weathered paint, and every bloom beside that roadside looked like grace without a name. I've been a man of long, hard highways, but that day I understood some roads don't lead you far away, they just bring you back to good. Two lanes through the blossoms still run on in my mind, April on the porch rail shining, soft as mercy in the pines. Two lanes through the blossoms where the long road learns to rest, and for one slow hour of driving the world felt simple, true, and blessed. Yeah, for one slow hour of driving the world felt simple, true, and blessed. Two lanes through the blossoms, Sunday wind on Route 61, moving soft through the open glass, church bells fading in the distance as another little town went past. Dogwood wide by the gravel shoulder,
Blue sky washed and clean above, and the road ran slow as a hymn line through the April dust and love. No rush hour, no hard thunder, just a long day opening wide. And something in that holy quiet sat down easy by my side. Sunday wind on Route 61, April shining mile by mile, from the old brick church to the truck stop sign, everything looked reconciled. Sunday wind on Route 61, soft as grace and warm as sun, and the whole hard road I've carried for years felt lighter than it had before. There was a porch with a red screen door, and kids in white shirts chasing shade, an old man leaning by the mailbox like he'd seen every season made. I rode on past the filling station, past fields gone green in southern light, and the world looked less like something broken than a thing still learning right. Maybe peace don't come in speeches, maybe peace is weather and air, a good road, a low song, and a Sunday sky telling you the heart can bear. Sunday wind on Route 61, April shining mile by mile, from the old brick church to the truck stop sign, everything looked reconciled. Sunday wind on Route 61, soft as grace and warm as sun, and the whole hard road I've carried for years felt lighter than it had before. I've known nights that cut like iron, I've known mornings hard as stone, but that Sunday wind through Mississippi made the whole world feel less alone. And maybe God don't always answer in words a man can understand. Maybe sometimes he just sends April across the road and through your hand. Sunday wind on Route 61 still runs gentle through my mind. April over the loading yards and the river somewhere shining. Sunday wind on Route 61, soft enough to make me young. And for one more day this old road life felt blessed instead of undone. Yeah, for one more day this old road life felt blessed instead of undone. Sunday wind on Route 61. Last April by the diner door, the peach trees burned in pink and gold. You stood there in the evening light and made the whole truck stop feel warm. Coffee, steam, and diesel air, spring moving soft through your hair. And for one small moment on that road, the world looked kinder than before. Your face and those blossoms both shining in the same sweet wind. I thought that kind of beauty might somehow come again. Peach blossoms by the diner door, still smiling in the spring once more. But I don't know where your face is gone, warm wind carries on. Peach blossoms by the diner door, blooming like they did before. And every mile I drive this time of year brings you back, but not for long. I came back down that same old road. She back by, she back road. You're gone by load after load. Load after load. The gravel lot, the neon sign. The neon sign. The screen door creak, the county line. Everything was just the same, except nobody called your name. And those pink white branches in the light felt almost cruel for blooming bright. The sky was blue as memory, the breeze was soft as then, and all that spring kept glowing where you had once been. Peach blossoms by the diner door, still smiling in the spring once more. But I don't know where your face is gone, only the warm wind carries on. Peach blossoms by the diner door, blooming like they did before. And every mile I drive this time of year brings you back, but not for long. Maybe flowers never wonder who was loved and who was lost. Maybe spring just keeps on rising, no matter what it costs. But a man can stand in April light and feel two worlds come through, one where the blossoms still return, one that never brings back you. Peach blossoms by the diner door, still laughing in the wind once more. And I can almost see your face in every petal's tender grace. Peach blossoms by the diner door, still beautiful as before. But the road rolls on and the years roll by, and I still look for you in spring. Yeah, the road rolls on and the years roll by, and I still look for you in spring. Peach blossoms by the diner door.
Midnight at the same old door, neon humming like before. Peach blooms pale against the dark, soft as fire without a spark. Coffee gone and chairs turned up, one last truck out on the road. I stood there with the spring night wind and a year inside my coat. The screen door side, the highway breathed in every shadow on that wall. Looked like it still remembered me. Midnight at the same old door, peach blossoms shining like before. Spring wind knew the way back home, but you don't walk here anymore. Midnight at the same old door, your name still moved across the floor. And all the miles that brought me here just made me miss you more. There was moonlight on the gravel, silver on the parking lines, and the diner window held the dark like an old song holds its rhyme. I could almost see you turning, denim jacket in your hand, like one more step and one more breath might bring you back to where I stand. But the night stayed still, the blossoms moved, and memory did what memory does. It made the lost feel almost true. Midnight at the same old door, peach blossoms shining like before. The spring wind knew the way back home, but you don't walk here anymore. Midnight at the same old door, your name still moved across the floor. And all the miles that brought me here just made me miss you more. Maybe some things only live at night, when the world grows small and slow, when a man can hear his old heart ache in the places he used to know. Maybe April keeps two kinds of light, one for bloom and one for pain, one that falls on empty doorways and brings old ghosts back again. Midnight at the same old door, peach blossoms shining like before. The road still runs, the spring still blows, but you don't come here anymore. Midnight at the same old door, your shadow lingered like before. And all the years that pulled me on still leave me here wanting more. Yeah, the road still runs, the spring still blows, but you don't come here anymore. Midnight at the same old door. Last year by this quiet door, peach blossoms held the evening light. You turned your face toward the spring, and everything grew warm and bright. No vow was made, no promise said, just wind and bloom and tender air. Yet something in that fleeting hour made all the world more human there. Your face beside the blossoms, one color, one soft flame. I did not know how brief such beauty was, or how long I would keep your name. When spring returned, you did not. The blossoms opened all the same. Light moved gently through the branches and softly called what it could not claim. When spring returned, you did not. The wind still found this little door, and all the beauty that remained only made me love you more. Today I came again alone, the path, the wall, the fading red, the same pale sky, the same mild breeze, the same bloom bending overhead. I stood where memory used to shine, and felt how time can wound without a sound. For everything the spring restored only deepened what was not found. No one spoke your absence, no shadow crossed the floor. Yet all the blossoms seemed to know you would not be here anymore. When spring returned, you did not. The blossoms opened all the same. Light moved gently through the branches and softly called what it could not claim. When spring returned, you did not. The wind still found this little door, and all the beauty that remained only made me love you more. Perhaps the flowers do not grieve, perhaps the wind remembers nothing, perhaps the season only keeps its own bright way of becoming. But I have learned how sorrow grows, not where the world is cold or bare, but where the light is still so beautiful, and you are no longer there. When spring returned, you did not. Yet bloom and light were pure as flame. The branches laughed above the silence, as if the world had not been changed. When spring returned, you did not. Still the wind moved through once more, and in that untouched April beauty I missed you deeper than before. In that untouched April beauty I missed you deeper than before.